Hare Krishna. We are here actually in Cincinnati, close to Cincinnati in the U.S., making a bit of a tour here in North America in connection with our ministry in India called the ISKCON Daiva Varnasrama Ministry. And with me today, actually, I have one of the devotees involved with our ministry, although he is basically located here in North America since the last, 2 or 3 years?
4 years.
Already 4 years, time flies. So I'd like to introduce Gaur Nataraj Prabhu, who many years back was one of the devotees instrumental in helping us acquire a small piece of land that we have in the district of Udupi in South Karnataka that we have named the Sri Krishna, Sayadri Sri Krishna Balaram Kshetra. And we are using this rural, this community in the making as our, we could say, rural base for the IDVM. IDVM is short for ISKCON Daiva Varnasrama Ministry. So he was one of the devotees who helped to, in the early days, locate and begin activities on that side. Gaur Nataraj Prabhu at that time was, I believe, still a student and connected with the university in Manipal, Mangalore. Afterwards, graduated, completed his master's degree in yoga therapy?
Yes,
I believe. Yes. And has since gone on to take up studies in astrology and while in India, traveled to different temples, giving seminars on health and yoga. A lot of devotees were very enthusiastic. And he is serving presently, although from a distance, not physically in India, but connected with our ministry as a consultant for health and yoga. We are encouraging our different devotees connected with the ministry to offer whatever knowledge and services they have so that more and more people can understand. So this is a brief introduction, of course, about Gaur Nataraj Prabhu, and I would like to have him speak a few moments and explain, possibly can explain what are the areas or fields of activity, kind of services that you have over the years developed and are presently involved with. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Actually, after I did my engineering, I had joined full-time in Mangalore University, in Mangalore Temple. And after some time, I expressed a desire to Maharaj that I want to study further, because very important thing about Varnasrama concept is lifelong education. You never stop learning throughout your life. You keep learning. So, and I understood that being from an engineering background or something, but there is a need to develop traditional occupations. So it has to be, even when we talk about Brahmanas, even within ISKCON, we have so many fields that need a lot of exploration, study and development, that some of the key areas like like astrology, yoga, and because Varnasrama Maharaj, when I had met him before I came to a few days before actually we were purchasing land, Prasanna Maharaj was in Udupi. And he said that for a self-sufficient community, health, food, in the sense economy, education, communication, these are like pillars. So very importantly, health was something that I really liked in area, because health is very important. And second important thing, of course, that I liked was also the Brahminical sciences, like studying Sanskrit, yoga, Vastu, and also astrology in very deep, because everything in material world, everything revolves around time. Now this time is such a wonderful science that if developed nicely, because people take guidance, it is called Jyotish Shastra, the eyes.
Time.
This Jyotish Shastra, the science of time, it gives you light into how to work towards the future. Like for example, the farmers, when they, even if you watch videos, traditional videos, they do put these seeds during Rohini Nakshatra, during certain stars, on the full moon. So all these things, so astrology means basically you put out the calendar, select the right time, select the right date, auspicious dates for deity installation, for like for example, I would give one practical example. Like I'm living in New Vrindavan, and His Grace Shamsundar Prabhu, who is a Prabhupada disciple, astrologer, he mentioned that when he was in New Vrindavan, he gave a date for the deity installation, which is a Sthira Lagna, a very strong auspicious date and time. So we can see that despite all the things that went around in New Vrindavan, the deity worship never stopped, despite everything. So if you do things in a right timing, even marriages, they stay stable. Garbhadan Sanskar, the very seed of the next generation, you have a strong child. Then of course Vidyarambha, all these different, you need guidance according to understand also his. And also when I visited Indonesia, His Holiness Maharaj explained that the children will be selected according to the Varna, according to their horoscope and practical observation. So,
but sometimes many people they play down or give less importance to astrology.
Yeah, that's the reason being that we don't, any science, this kind of science, as we see, it requires the B.V. Raman, one of the top astrologers, he is no more, but he says that astrology is a revelation by the Supreme. So to the extent the Supreme reveals to somebody, and that means he needs to be a pure personality. An impious person or a manipulative person cannot be a good astrologer.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, to be pure is one thing. Second is also one needs to be a very good mathematician, one needs to be very diligent in his studies, one needs to do his Nitya Karma. So we see, for me, Shamsundar Prabhu is a very nice example. He works very hard in the day, spends hours.
One can easily conclude actually that although sometimes in the past Srila Prabhupada seemed to have given in certain cases less emphasis or importance on astrology, for example, yet Srila Prabhupada desired, in order that we have a temple of Vedic planetarium, where there's a lot of aspects connected with astrology and astronomy and all these things, right?
Yeah. Actually, these things are very important because what I understand very clearly is that Prabhupada was never sure how long he would live, how long he had. So his main emphasis was understanding of Krishna being the center. But apart from that, what I understood, because I was traveling with Jayadvaita Maharaj, and also he said Prabhupada put everything in his books because he never knew how long he had.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he said his disciples would write purports of his purports and would expand his teachings.
Yes.
And we see that Prabhupada knew all these sciences. Like he encouraged some devotees who are doing yoga also. Oh, so he said this is very nice. And he writes that actually yoga is Vaishnava. But in general, because of the kind of yoga that was practiced, devoid of Krishna, he wanted to avoid that aspect. Anything, any Vedic science devoid of Krishna should be avoided. But if an astrologer understands Krishna, if a yogi understands Krishna, and devotees, as we see, as we know as of now, what I understand very clearly, devotees have so many non-traditional occupations. And that's why it's very important that we understand the importance of the traditional occupations and develop these sciences and link them with Krishna.
Would you say that within our ISKCON society at present, like today is, 21st of November 2014. So 2014, we're just about to enter 2015. Would you say that our devotees in general are sufficiently aware of or understanding the need and the importance to actually study some of these traditional sciences?
No, the science, it's very clear. The results speak for themselves. For example, I went to some very good temples in India, very top temples, and we see
ISKCON temples?
ISKCON temples.
Okay.
ISKCON temples in...
don't have the name.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will keep them secret. But they have marriage bureaus, they have very large number of congregation, they have marriage bureaus, and they are facing serious problems. There is marriage breakup. So what's pervading in the outside society is hitting ISKCON as well. There is divorces among devotees because they thought, okay, we don't need anything, we don't need astrology, this and that, they are devotees.
Right.
That's one thing. Second, so many devotees wherever I went have so many health problems, so many mental problems. Marriage, people have severe problems, children's education. If just being like ignoring these things, we know everything, we are doing everything, if that was enough, then we wouldn't need this.
We are devotees, we transcend everything.
Everything, yeah. So with that thinking, and we see the result now. So that's why now I see many of them referring.
So what you're saying is that gradually maybe more and more devotees are understanding that, there is some value there, and maybe we need to give that attention, we need to take that into consideration.
I'll give you an example. There was a couple here in Ohio. They were both doctors, and they were very rich, both husband and wife working very hard, both chanting 16 rounds. And the wife actually became averse suddenly to the husband and to the whole Hare Krishna movement. She stopped chanting and she wanted to divorce him. This person, this husband, he went to some senior counselors in ISKCON. I'm not saying they're wrong, but he went to all of them and they said, they spoke to her, they spoke to him, they tried to arrange a session. Everybody gave up hope. All the big guns, they gave up hope. Then somehow he came to New Vrindavan, and that man, he was almost breakdown. He said, Prabhuji, I have resigned to this fact and I'm quitting. I said, sit down. Give me yours and her birth date. I looked at their horoscope and I said, you will never separate. And he was surprised. He said, Prabhuji, it's almost done. We have almost contacted the lawyer. I said, no, you are not going. This was last October, not this October, last October, a year back. And then I told him certain remedies to chant. All my remedies are from the Bhagavatam. They read certain portions of Bhagavatam, which is more powerful than any other yajna or something. So he went back and he started chanting. Slowly his wife started chanting. Within 6 months, they called me back and they said, Prabhuji,
we're going on a honeymoon.
Yes, so we are completely happy. And not only that, he told this to all those people who had given up hope, all the senior counselors in America. And they were astounded, how did this happen? Because they spoke to that lady, all these people, and they said, this lady, there is no hope. And now they are completely shocked and bewildered. How could this happen? So this is one example. Like this, there are many examples. I went to, for example, in Pune, I go regularly. I do yoga classes and everything. And there was one devotee who had severe health problems. I taught him some yoga and something, but then he said he had some problems which were like very severe, very chronic. Many Ayurvedic people. I looked at his horoscope and I said, "You do this kind of prayer, this prayer." And the last time I went to Pune, he said, "Prabhuji, now I have," he was almost like 30, 40 kilos, that's it. He said, now he's almost 60 kilos and his health is good. And he said, "Prabhuji, only by your direction I am able to stay."
So the point you're making is that actually when we understand things properly, when we follow things that are shastric, that are in Shastra, that are authorized, then we can expect some positive results.
Exactly. So the point is, these sciences need a lot of research.
Correct.
These sciences need a lot of time and application. I mean,
these sciences, I think you would agree as well, are only possible when we have a proper educational setup.
Yes, exactly. We need a proper facility for the Brahmins. Previously, like I understood when I was doing my masters in yoga, my professor used to say, previously the king supported the yogis, the Brahmanas. So this direction, actually, this spiritual direction and this kind of meticulous direction is more valuable than any amount of cash or gold we may have. Because this is spiritual science, it cannot be gotten otherwise. So Brahmanas were honored with land and cows and gold, and today they are left penniless. And unfortunately, I must say that even within our own society, not everybody or many of our leaders don't support it that much. But of course, there are a few who recognize, who value, and because of the enthusiasm and the interest of a few people, and I would say I am very thankful to Maharaj for having actually sponsored my studies in yoga when I was doing my masters, and also encouraging me in studying astrology. So like this, many senior leaders, gurus in ISKCON, if they take a lead role, then we can see many people can take this up.
Can we, in closing, let's say our brief interview today, can you just quickly mention some of the services that can be offered in connection with the ministry, specifically in terms of yourself as, let's say, our IDVM consultant for health and yoga? How can people get in contact with you, for example, and what services you can offer briefly?
Basically, one of the things that I am working on right now is to, of course, I am also doing a Bhakti Shastri course I'm teaching for our, that is number one, of course, at a spiritual level. Second, I am also coming out with short videos on astrology, general education, so that people can understand what is daily calendar, how to read that, how to read the Vaishnava calendar.
Something has come out or soon to come out?
It's going.
Okay.
I mean, like I'm recording those videos, so soon they will be on YouTube. And those, if you subscribe, I mean, I'll put them up and share the link on our IDVM. Third, Maharaj recently asked me to write more articles, and that's something I was actually planning to do, and it would be a good thing that this website will serve as a and already I have a book on yoga. So I would say that anybody who is interested can write to me, and best is by email. And then if they have any queries regarding astrology or they have any concerns regarding health, then also if anybody has any other things like they would like to kind of research, or like for example, I'm doing a very serious research on 5th canto, because that is a very cosmology, it's a very deep subject. So like this, I'm planning to also start kind of research groups, like I have few devotees I know, and we are trying to set up a study
Do you still, excuse me, do you still occasionally, as you were doing when you were in India, give seminars, visit temples? Can temples contact you? There was very good response. You will recall it in Pune and other places. Many of our devotees within ISKCON society, although very sincere, very often don't know so much about diet, for example, and have health issues, as you mentioned. I mean, as devotees, we shouldn't be, in mental anxiety, or we should keep or maintain a good health. So you're doing seminars, etc., like that. Is that still possible?
Yeah. I travel. For example, starting January or February, I'll be traveling many temples on the East Coast in the US, especially focusing on these seminars. And of course, whenever I come to India, I definitely have a seminar in Pune because that's the most popular hub. But definitely, if there is any invitation, if anybody would like to have a course, and also either you can do it by remotely, or if you'd like to travel me to your place, then definitely that will be a very nice thing. And also, I would say that me and my wife are also working on a book on Ayurvedic cooking. So,
it's a nice sample actually. I personally sampled some of those recipes a few days ago.
So, cooking, then yoga, astrology, and of course related to scriptures, of course, or basic Krishna consciousness, philosophy and principles. All these classes can be done.
So, although somewhat brief, I think it's giving a little bit of an idea, possibly a more clear idea, about some of the facilities and some of the services that within our ISKCON society, especially in terms of like traditional sciences, traditional knowledge, Vedic culture. Actually, if we want to establish Varnashram, we need individuals, isn't it, who are knowledgeable, who are astrologers, who know about Vastu Shastra, who are Ayurvedic experts, and all of these traditional sciences are actually very important. And it begins with good, as we touched on this, of course, very briefly, good educational background is needed, and that actually begins with Gurukul, therefore the intent, influence or importance of traditional education. So we'd like devotees to take advantage of these different services. You can visit our website, actually. That's available at www.iskonvarnashram.com, and of course many of our devotees involved with the ministry, their basic details are there, email address and other information where you can contact these devotees, and they'll be happy to explain to you their respective areas of service. And in this way, actually, we need, as a society, in our different ministries, offer maximum service, beginning with our own devotees, our own communities, and then to people in general, so that there can be more awareness about how rich is the Vedic culture and how much it actually has to offer. So I'd like to thank Gaur Nataraj Prabhu for having been a good student, I suppose, in your Manipal days and in your Bangalore university days as well, and also serving as a good example in terms of putting into practice personally in his own life. Both him and his wife are. Your wife teaches yoga as well nowadays, a little bit, or was?
No, she does counsel and help devotees.
Okay. But she learned yoga.
She learned traditional yoga.
Yeah, she learned
traditional yoga. Of course, when she had a child
slowed
down a little.
Yes,
but she's picking up again.
Yeah, that's good. And as you mentioned, she's working on a cookbook, right? Recipes.
Yeah, Ayurvedic
cookbook that I personally sampled just a few days ago. So we'd like to invite the devotees to visit our website, be in contact with our different devotees that are offering various services like this. And in this way, we can learn more about the many facets and many aspects of our Vedic culture, especially traditional sciences that very often devotees are knowing maybe less about. So once again, thank you very much to Gaur Nataraj Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Lord.
And formerly, every Brahmin used to learn these two sciences, Ayurveda and Jyotirveda. Jyotirveda means astronomy, astrology, not astronomy. Because any other means the less intelligent than Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Shudras, they would meet the Brahmins for health and future. Everyone is very inquisitive to learn what is future, what is going to happen next. And everyone is concerned with the health. So Brahmins, they would simply advise about health and the future. So that is their profession. And people will give them eatables, cloth. So they had nothing to do for working outside.